Hello, once again, YouTube. Once again, welcome back. And today, I really want to touch on freedom, your individual freedom, especially as a man, your freedom, and the fact that it's something that's very, very important, you see. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of people actually take their freedom for granted. And once that's taken away, or once people actually interfere with your individual freedom, just your freedom to express yourself, your freedom to do the things you like doing. Once that is taken away, usually is then we start recognizing that how important uh, our freedom actually is. This also coincides with happenings that's happening to our brothers and sisters in north part of Africa, as in Gabon, Niger, that area where right now there are military coups that are happening and all that. And what they want is freedom, right? Basically, freedom from colonial. Let's just say it's a colonial, uh, neo-colonial freedom they want. Neo-colonialism is what's happening there. You see. So, what really sparked this? What is it that we can learn from their whole uh this whole these coups and all that are happening in the north of Africa, is that it comes a time that you realize that your independence, your right, your liberty is not just important, but you have to really fight for it. What the French, no, I'm not. I'm not. This remember, I'm not trying to be political. I don't get political in these videos usually, but it's unless there's something we can learn, right? Unless there's something we can learn from it, then it's best we try and extract something from all these activities that are going on. So the French are there, right? The French really do not want to leave. Why? For whatever reason, you may say because actually Niger and Gabon and all those North African countries have rich resources, right? However, no matter how rich you are, if you cannot um, free yourself, right? Free yourself from such some people who have control over your resources, right? Then it's hard for you to really advance. You see, and that's it's no excuse of not being better, but that's what has been, from my perspective, is what's been happening in the north, right? Countries like France and all these colonizing countries really um, do not want to let go of those resources, right? Because they know they need them. They need those resources in the first place, right? They need those resources for themselves, and also they know that if those resources are used in a way that it will advance those countries, then those countries will be totally independent, and that's what supposed to be happening in reality, that we are supposed to be really producing, or as African countries we're supposed to produce, we're supposed to create, we're supposed to be manufacturing stuff, right? But what happens if a lot of these resources are actually held captive, right, by other countries or other corrupt individuals who use it for their own benefit? What happens then? You see, so this is no excuse for countries not to advance or anything, and blame uh, blame countries like France, and all those British countries that colonized a lot of African countries. However, um, it's true that these countries are proxy. Uh, they somehow still have that control, right? They still have control over their colonies. For example, a lot of what was, I think it was Niger, still playing, still pays colonial taxes or something like that, some weird stuff like that. So you can see a lot of these resources are going out of these countries and being exported to countries that are supposedly advanced, right? Now, what is the solution to this? First of all, we have to understand what true independence is, what true liberty is, right? Once as a nation or as Africa we are able to establish this, then we can move forward. First of all, we can take a leaf from Museveni, right? Museveni, someone who truly believes or truly understands the meaning of independence. He does not really worry about the West throwing sanctions at him. Why? Because he understands those sanctions, right? Those loans that come from the West, those loans that comes from the IMF and all these institutions, they have stupid and idiotic strings attached to them, right? They know that at the end of the day, if you're unable to pay those loans back, somehow they'll have to recoup them, right? And that's when they use dirty politicians within these countries. They use they just use all sort of institutions, right, to somehow steal from these individuals, right? And this money that they steal, these resources are supposed to go back into the country to rebuild the countries, right? Now, how do you rebuild this with people who are traitors? See, most politicians are nothing but traitors. African politicians, especially, they do not have that patriotic sense that okay, my fellow Africans are suffering, right? My fellow countrymen are suffering. So why don't I at least be patriotic and at least look after them, look out for them? They don't do that, right? They rather side with Westerners um, or whatever institution that will give them money as long as they have those riches and they have all this dumb stuff that they can't even handle, right? For example, look at the just overthrown leader of Gabon, right? Ali Bongo, right? I mean, why do you need all those bank accounts? Why do you need all those cars? The guy can't even walk right now. I saw him when he was talking. He can hardly walk. He can hardly even speak. Like what for? I mean, couldn't you have done big things to for your country with all that money? Why? See, that's the big that's the worst part right there. Because really, most of these African most of these African leaders really do not have a vision for themselves or their countrymen. All they think about is having power. And with power comes responsibilities, right? And that's what I don't think they understand that. They think power must be something that should feed you. Once you're in power, once you're in government, then it's time for you to feed. That's not right. That's stupid and that's idiotic thinking. It's backwards. Power means that you are responsible. You're responsible for people. You're responsible to your countrymen. You're responsible for their well-being, right? You're patriotic. That's what real power is, right? People put you in government so that you go and do things. Now I'm getting political and I guess I'm a bit vibed out. But what can we learn from these things, right? We can learn that once you get your independence, you don't mess up, right? Get that independence, right? Just as we can draw this back to an individual, right? once you're an individual, you have now created your life. You're creating your life. You're doing something with your life, right? You should remember that your independence is, or your liberty is your responsibility. Whatever you do, whatever, however you move in life, especially as a man, it's your responsibility. Make sure that you do it in the right way, right? Yes, there are traps here and there, obviously. We all have traps. We have all our vices, right? We all have vices. We all have these sort of temptations. It's okay, and it's totally human, right? We will fall sometime. We will have to backtrack sometimes. Totally human, right? However, we get up. We realize our mistakes. Then we redo our failures, and the next time around the test comes, right? Because you'll be tested. Life is all about tests. Each and every day may be a test. You may be examined, so when that happens, make sure you're prepared. You're doing the right thing, right? There's no need to do the very same thing, right, that past individuals were doing, and they were doing it in a way that's unnecessary, right? If you are given the chance to do something, you're given a chance to recreate a life, you are given a chance to lead, even lead a nation. You may lead a nation. Make sure it's something you're doing that's right, because if you can't lead yourself proper, then what will happen is that if you're given that opportunity, then it'll be very hard for you to do the right thing, right? So this is what I've really abstracted or got from this whole situation, and it seems like things are slowly but surely happening here in Africa right now, because it's really, things are really waking up, and everybody with the internet and the information, everyone knows what's going to happen, what's happening. And even seems like other governments are now getting a wake-up call. It's really a wake-up call for other governments to do right, because they shouldn't think that it will just stop in the north. This is something that is happening. The youth, the young guys, the young leaders, they really want things to be right for Africa. And I think the old guards, right, those or the old guys, those gatekeepers, right? The gatekeepers, it's time for them to step back, because they really don't have anything new. They have nothing to do. They have nothing to say. Their mindset is stuck at probably just propaganda and just filling their bellies. That's where their mindset is at. They should allow credible and responsible, honest men into those areas of responsibility, who can take leadership into the next step, into the next the Africa that we want to see, right? And us as Africans, we have to step in and actually not blame other races, but to do the work. If we see that other races or other from the West or whatever are trying to meddle with our own situation, eradicate them, throw them out, and then let's see how we can do it. I think we Africans can do a better job. Even if we're going to create mistakes, we're going to learn from our. We don't need lectures. We don't need lectures from the West, especially from the States, whatever. People think that these. I feel like, or I think that these people are just narcissists. They're very narcissistic, because they think that they can really lecture us on morality and way to govern ourselves. Eradicate such people. There's no need for that. Even if we're going to make mistakes, even if we're gonna create a version of democracy on our own, let it be so. We do not need other people's version of anything. Africans are capable of doing anything, as long as we stick to our morals, our responsibilities, our principles. Then we can move forward. So yeah, as you can see, this is really rattled me out, because it's something that's happening. It's good. It's opening opportunities for us as Africans to really move forward and create a better Africa for the next generation or for ourselves as we move forward. So yeah, be responsible as per usual. Think, think ahead. Have that vision and continue on that path to a better version of you. So I'm going to stop there for today, and till next time, peace.